YouTube, and welcome back. Today we're going to be installing the DSC Sport controller into the Corvette today. This is their website, dscsport.com. Here's the controller we're going to put in, but they do make them for Porsches, the Cadillac CTS-V, the GTR, Mustangs, Focuses, Vipers, Hellcats, Audi, and then some standalone resto mod stuff. And then they have some kits as well, coilovers and stuff like that. If you want to know more about that, just check them out at dscsport.com. So this is the controller we're going to install right here. There's a few things that you probably want to get as well as part of this install, and that's going to be in the download section. There's a tuning software that you can get, and then there's some instructions as well on how to do that. They tell you right here. One thing is this is only for Windows. It's only works on Windows computers. So if you have an Apple, you're going to have to find a Windows computer. There's some calibration files in here that kind of go over the different vehicles that you can set up. They come pre-installed with the latest drivers and calibrations, but what they do is they do update over a period of time as they get more and more improvements. So if you want to ever come back and look at the and update your controller, you can through their website. There's also some they have a really cool like tuning academy here. It has a whole bunch of YouTube videos on how to work the system, reading all this data logging, because you can data log with this thing. Really, it's really cool. You can see what your suspension is doing. One of the things that we're going to do is we're going to be doing zeroing your dampers. So they do have a link here that you can go to, because my video is probably not as good as theirs. But you know, you can take a look. There's also, I'm trying to find, I think it's in the setup notes. In setup notes, yes, you'll see the Corvette, so it'll have the alignment specs as well. This is really important when you go to get your car aligned. It gives you, if you have a street occasional track or track street. So this is daily comfort, reduced tire wear, moderate to heavy traffic or heavy track use, also suitable for street driving. Tells you what you need to do. Pull one bolt washer from behind both upper control arms. This one doesn't really require you doing any of that stuff. I'm probably going to go like this because I'm mostly going to drive it on the street. But as you can tell here, there's a little bit more camber compared to the two, and then significantly more if you're in a full track mode. But the rear caster, the casters are going to stay the same in the front and the rear. The toe is the same all the way around. It's just the camber on the front and the rear that's really going to make the difference. So it's really cool to get this information and use this. Research as much as you can before you install your controller, and make sure you're all prepared before you go in. All right, so we're going to get right into it. Sorry about the audio and the way it has to be done. I have to narrate over this because the camera equipment stuff I'm using isn't that great. I'm still waiting for this stuff to come in. But right here is the box. It's powered by DSC. It's the DSC Sport controller. And we are getting ready to put it in. But before I do that, I will let you know that you need to get in your vehicle and turn your wheel all the way to the left, because you're going to be accessing that panel behind the fender. And you're going to be removing that mud flap. So, all right. So inside the box, you'll find that there is a card here that has a couple of websites and installation instructions, as well as config files, where you'll find the addresses that I mentioned before, as well as some coil-over information. A couple of stickers will be included. Also, inside here is the main controller. You'll see that this is actually considerably smaller than the factory controller that's in there, but significantly more powerful. So it's going to sit way up inside, kind of where I'm have my hand there right now. It's going to actually face the other direction. The actual plugs will be facing towards the rear of the car. One bolt you have to remove that's directly where my finger is underneath, that holds that inner liner piece on. So once you get that out, then you are everything is just a clip in at that point, and I'll show you that here real soon. Out, you're going to pull apart, and it just clips in right there. It's real easy to do. And then the next thing you'll see are those 3 screws along the fender well lip that you'll be taking out. Those are Torx T15s that you need to take out. So one quick thing I wanted to point out here is on the controller, it actually sits on a plastic housing. And that plastic housing is bolted with 1 bolt onto the inner fender of the vehicle. You can get through it through the vent right there, just being careful not to scratch the paint. You can't get the socket through, so what I did is I put the socket through the inner well, and then I put the extension through that, and then I took that bolt off. Some people say they can get it off without taking that piece off, but there's 2 clips on the very top. You have to pry back and then pull the controller out, and I just wasn't able to do it. It was a lot easier for me to take the bolt out and then remove the whole plastic assembly. And the way you do that is by just taking that bolt out, you push up, and then it'll slide right out, and and then you rotate it forward towards the vehicle. I'll fast forward to that next one. Okay, right here, this is what the controller looks like when it's out of the vehicle. There's a little plastic housing that sits on there around the silver part, which I went ahead and put back in the vehicle, because once you have it out, it's a lot easier to snap it back in place once it's back in. And you pull the clip up, it'll help extract the board away from it, make sure all the white pieces are pushed all the way in, and then reattach just the opposite direction with your new controller. Then you're going to want to fire the car up and ensure that everything works and there's no errors on the dashboard. All right, so next what I'm doing is I'm going to hook up my USB cable so that I can go ahead and zero out the dampers, like I said in the earlier part of this video. I'll fast forward. So right now I'm attempting to put the controller back in. Remember, the large connector will be faced towards the back of the car, and the USB connection will be towards the front, and the stickers will face outward. Okay, so you should just have the DSC tuner application on your computer. If you have a virus or protection of antivirus of some sort, it may pop that up and you'll have to ignore that message. You want to go in next and select the vehicle type and make sure you have the proper vehicle selected. So in this case, it was the Corvette C7. All right, now you need to go to the Tools tab, and then you want to do Reset Board. This just make sure you're communicating with the board. And as you can see, I get this error message because my antivirus is trying to block it because it feels that it's a threatened issue. But I'm going to go ahead and do Continue. I'm going to see, oh, it's obviously blocking it. So I'm going to go inside to the antivirus here, wait for this stuff to pop up. It'll pop up another scene, and I'm going to allow the application to have access to the computer. So just in case if you guys come across this, you'll know what to do. You'll need to allow access to the computer. Next, we're going to go back. We're going to hit Reset Board again, just because we had all those issues and we see that it's okay. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to look at the data log and see where we're at. And here's that portion I was talking about where you can record data. It'll record a graph and you can change the settings on what you want to monitor, or you can do it in text. And so right here, what we're doing is we're using the text method because we want to see where the dampers are already set at. Don't click any of this stuff. This was my own mistake going in there. Trying to figure it all out, and I was like, oh, do you need to open something? Do I need to have a config file? No, you don't need to do any of this stuff. So this is stuff you'll learn through me, not to do. Obviously, I'm like, okay, oh yeah, you got to record. So as you can see right here, we have the travel inch is all in different numbers. We're on solid ground. We're inside the vehicle. It's got everything should be at 0, and it's not. So this is quite a bit off, and we want to zero out the suspension so that the programming says this is what 0 is, right? We want a starting point. So we're going to go ahead and stop it. We're going to close out this window, and then we want to go back and reset the board again. All this does is just make sure that everything is communicating properly, and that we're not having any issues. And it's really a good habit to do that anytime you make a change or change anything in between the settings. So right now, I went in, I was trying to find the setting. It's not in shock calibration, it's actually in settings. And at the very bottom there, you'll see the 0 travel. So you just click 0 travel, and it's just boom, it's already set. The ride height is set to 0. You say yes, it'll pop up success. Great. We're going to go back into the tools, and we're going to reset the board again. Not read all. Don't do that. I did that on accident, so don't do that. A little quick click. So we're going to go reset board again. The board is reset. We're going to press OK. Now we're going to go back into the tools. We're going to look at the data log. We're going to switch it over to the text. We're going to record, and we'll see right there that everything is set as 0. So successful there. That's an awesome thing to see. So really excited. That means our vehicle is zeroed out. The controller is calibrated. So reset the board once again. And then at that point, you can disconnect and then unplug from your controller. All right, and that's it. That's the full install of the DSC Sport controller. Like I said, they make it for several other vehicles. Take a look at it. It's probably one of the best investments you're going to make. I did take the car for a really quick spin, and I immediately noticed a difference. The car is smoother over hills. It doesn't like hit the bumps and is jarring. It's more kind of rolls over them, as before it was like it like jammed into them. Now it kind of rolls over them. And then when I changed the settings from like touring mode to sport mode, you can feel the car like get taut, not like stiff, but taut. You kind of tell it's wanting to, it's like kind of hunkering down, getting ready for some pretty good turns. And then in track mode, it gets even more taut. So nothing, and it's not jarring by any means. It really made the car, to me, feel like it was more attached to the road. It wasn't skipping over bumps. It was rolling over and staying in contact with the road and making sure those tires are contacted and planted to the road at all times. And then when you get on the car, it squats and it shoots and it's gone, man. It's really worth it. I highly recommend it. And I'll have a link for them in the description. Once again, thank you very much for checking this out. We're going to have some more mods coming up soon. I have new tires in the shop as we speak, and I have wheels coming as well. Sorry I wasn't able to do any in video of me driving the car. The GoPro I'm using is really old, and it was really horrible footage. Even the footage that you saw on here wasn't that great because of an old equipment. I'm trying to get something in better and try to make this equipment better. As the channel grows and as I grow, hopefully I'll get better at this stuff, and we'll make it a lot easier. Once again, if you like the channel, if you like what you heard here, please give me a like and a subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions, or maybe some help that you can point out to me on some video and lighting equipment, as well as editing software, I'd greatly appreciate it. Put that down in the discussion below. And once again, I appreciate all your time. Thank you.